So my name's Luann and I work for Julian House as a casework coordinator. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about how I came to have a desire to help the homeless. So I have some experience, personal experience of being in a tent from a young age. I had difficulties at home and my home life was not great, to the point where mine and my mum's relationship broke down when I was around 17, and I was quite lucky to get support from a supported housing accommodation who helped me to gain the skills to live independently, and then unfortunately I ended up with a partner at the time in the accommodation, which was lovely at the time, but unfortunately it went a bit wrong. I ended up in a refuge for that, because of that, and then went back to the supported accommodation afterwards once the person was no longer in Exeter. And then unfortunately I got in another bad relationship in the same accommodation, and I ended up being in a tent with him, and that's where we found ourselves. I had some support from an outreach team at the time. They supported me to help me into the council and apply for the support there, and I eventually ended up in a temporary flat by the council, and then I ended up in my permanent place. I really have a lot to sort of thank the charity for, who supported me with accommodation, because not only when I'd been living there was also a situation where I was going to find myself on my own on the street with no one, and I was pretty scared about being on my own, even though I'd been on the street before. I was with someone in a tent. This particular time I would have been with no tent, no sort of support or no one to kind of keep me safe. I think one of my hardest challenges when on the street, I would have said, is the scaredness and so I just didn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. And the lack of sleep then makes you even more anxious and aware of what's going on around you, and any noise. So actually I think it was quite a challenge more for when I went back into somewhere that was safer, because I ended up having to have sleeping tablets and things to get my sort of sleep pattern back on, because I just couldn't sleep, I just couldn't switch off. You're in a quite high state of alert when you're on the street and trying to make sure that you don't get hurt. So